Yeah, it started.
Okay, good.
Here's the link. And here we go, Alex.
It's live. It's alive.
Yeah, man.
Oh, jeez. Okay, let's give it a couple of minutes before we start, right? Give people the chance
Yes,
to join in.
as usual.
Man, we have such a hot weather right now here. We
Oh,
haven't
yeah, in Brussels it's not the case.
uh, we actually haven't had any snow here.
Mm.
So it's been another green Christmas, like fifth one in a row, something like that. It's quite strange, yep.
Six of us. Welcome to everyone, guys.
Oh, yeah. Welcome everybody. If you have any questions, as usual, post them in YouTube chat, and we will try to answer them best to our abilities. It would be nice if you guys posted some questions, you know.
Let's wait 2 more minutes, Alex.
Yeah, let's give it 2 more minutes. 2 Minuten, they would say in Germany, right?
I don't know, honestly.
Well, I do know a little bit of German after being so much up there, through the years. But I still don't know anything, to be honest. I mean, of what I should have known, right? Because I've never been to America, and I think I speak, solid English. Not a good one, but a solid one, I suppose.
Okay, maybe we can start, Alex. I
You
think.
can start, you say? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, welcome to yet another live stream, and this one, it is a kind of a special one because it is right before New Year's Eve, right? So, before we start, I would like to wish everybody, uh, I mean, I'm not gonna say peaceful because there's gonna be a lot of fireworks. I'm gonna say a happy second part of the holidays, right? I won't say Happy New Year yet because it's not New Year just yet. I mean, unless you live in the other side of the world, right? When I'm
So
pretty
let's
sure.
say happy New Year Eve. That's good.
Exactly, Happy New Year Eve, exactly. So basically, second part of the holidays, right?
Yep.
uh, Again, if you have any questions, we will start with analyzing some Bitcoin and some Ethereum and talk about some news what we expect to happen in the new year because there are some good news finally for crypto which might spike up the volume a little bit and give us some room to play again, right? I mean, to play it a little bit more actively, right? Uh, so yeah, as I said, if you got any questions, post it in YouTube chat. Well, we do that. So again, let's just start with BitMEX, right? Where we last left off on BTC. Before we do that, I would like to tell anybody, like BitMEX, I think it was last week ago, I'm not sure or not, they changed the contracts to their alts, right? And this, if anybody is interested right now, the new ticker is H20, right? So
H20.
just add, I don't know, Litecoin H20, so if you wanna switch it up. I do hate when BitMEX does that, and for apparent reason they do this every 3 months, right? And I am not sure why, because then charts look like this, and frankly I really don't know what to do with the chart which looks like this, right? I mean, you really don't have much going on, right? But then you switch to Binance, or sort of in this case Poloniex, and you have a lot more, right? You have a lot more, the whole history and everything. So I don't know why BitMEX still continues to do this. I mean, it is really some outdated stuff, like shouldn't have done this, but okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
even that the future are linear for 3 months, but you can add the data, so we can actually chart something on those alternate mix. But no, we can't. So
So
this is the
that's why I prefer the contract from the Binance, exactly, because you have the full history and everything. And I mean, exchanges used to do that back in the day, but these days, like, they're just keeping it real. I mean, just keeping it the wholeheartedly full chart, right? I mean, if they did this with Bitcoin, they would have a lot less traders than they do right now. And even now, they don't have a lot of them anymore, right? I mean, people went to Deribit and everybody else because they're kind of a better competition. I mean, sorry, not better competition, but better exchange. They're more friendly and everything, right? They're willing to help their people out if you happen to get stopped or skipped or liquidated for some god awful what reason. So yeah, for BTC. So the previous week we basically left it around here. We had the short up here to 7500, and then we also talked about this long in this area, particularly down here. Now, before we go onwards, I have to mention that we still have our algorithms running in 4C. The algorithms are doing a fantastic job, by the way. And they're providing us with plenty of trades. So some of these trades were not taken on the bot just for the reason for us to not. We don't want to be exposed too much, right?
and we don't want to interfere that much with the
Algorithm as well, yeah,
algorithm.
exactly. You don't want to expose ourselves too much because we have, at the moment, we have 2 trades open, right? If I'm not mistaken, we have, or actually we had 3, right? We have Ethereum, we have Ethereum long, right? We have FET, Fetch IA, that's one more.
Yota is closed, so yeah.
Oh, Yota is
Ethereum
closed. Okay, so we have 2 trades right now open, right? So we have plenty of trades, guys. I mean, because watching at these markets and the current volume, we are doing okay with the trade-wise, right? So there's no point on us opening another long and another short on Bitcoin, because then we would already have like 10%. If we risked only 2% per trade, we would already be risking 10% on the market, right? But if for you guys that kind of risk more, like 3 to 4, 5%, right? You would be really, really exposed to this market. So when we try to take trades, we always play our scenarios back in our minds. If the worst possible thing could have happened, right? How do we still preserve our bankrolls and not waste them on unnecessary risk? I mean, right? So as I was saying, we had this. This was basically our range as we did it from the top to bottom on the previous stream. Short so far played out. We will see if long continues to play out. This one will as well not be called out since we already have 3 trades open, as we mentioned a minute ago. Then we talked about going on a larger time frames and of course having a big buy area down here, which is quite vast as we talk about it. And we have mentioned some processes of how we can tackle this area, right? I mean, originally
average in.
Sorry, what did you?
Average in, it's the best solution.
Yeah. So yeah, as we spoke in the previous stream, we already determined Gordon, yeah, Happy New Year, man. But I said not a Happy New Year yet. It's Happy New Year's Eve. So as I was saying in the previous stream, the range in, as Arnaud mentioned right here, is possibly the best solution right here, because when the Bitcoin is gonna come down here, it's probably gonna give you a fast reaction, right? That's what we really do expect at the end of the day. If there's not gonna be a fast reaction and you have going to have some sideways action, then obviously we're gonna be a lot more luckier, because then we will be able to fill a lot bigger position, right? Originally in with much smaller stop loss, right? But you know, in such a vast liquidity area that is this, right? It's hard to expect that we were gonna go sideways and then pump like something we did this, right? Because here, like I said, here we went sideways, then dumped a little bit, and then pumped, right? I don't expect that we will go like this, do this, this, and then this, and pump, right? I mean, it can obviously happen, but I'm also mostly expecting it's gonna be something like this, right? So when it comes down, obviously not gonna be that fast, but like say when it comes down, it's gonna pump, right? Quite fast. It's gonna be a fast reaction. So as Arnaud mentioned, it's best to possibly scale in slowly. Of course, this is not gonna make you a lot of money if you scale in slowly, because you have to mind the risk, and the risk is quite. I mean, the risk. The thing is, the stop is quite wide in this particular case, right? So the risk is gonna have to be a little bit higher than you usually tend to, right? But it wouldn't go above 2%. And if you spread 2% in the area of $1,000, well, it's obviously gonna be a much smaller trade than you usually take, right? Of course. Making some money is better than making no money, right? So when you hit that first bump, so just say if you get that pump like this, you can always add on later on if it slowly returns down here, right? You can add here a little bit more and then hopefully ride it the way up, right? Now there are some possibilities that this could be the bottom, right? Gotta mention some news that now even Chinese are applying for their first ETF, right? Which, yeah. Yeah, so like I said, even Chinese are applying for their first ETF, right? So now that's a huge market. Like let's just mention that. I mean, that's like 600 million people, right? Now, obviously, we don't. I don't think China actually wants to go to put their people too deep into Bitcoin, but I guess at the end of the day, they still have to give them a choice, right? Because it's such a vast and majority market, and they're trying to make a move on cryptocurrency themselves. They have to sort of educate their people in the wave of Bitcoin, right? Even though if their cryptocurrency would not consist of Bitcoin, right? They're just trying to educate people, and by doing this, they're applying for their first ETF, and possibly getting access to the first ETF could actually skyrocket the volume and Bitcoin with it, right? But I mean, if that happens, we will most likely be seeing a lot more volume, which is very good for our style of trading, right? The price action trading and the levels trading. And then we could possibly stop seeing this crazy wicks which take out lows and then take out highs in the next leg. So in one day you take out low, the next day you take out highs, right? Which is pretty crazy.
One of the implications could be that if United States see that China authorize the ETF, the SEC could accelerate the processes, which will bring even more volume. So
exactly.
That's very good. That's a big deal once again.
We need adoption like this, you know. Even if it's not always good for us, we need adoption like this, right? You know. And I know Chinese governments are stepping into crypto, and they're probably not gonna keep it, you know, how to say, invisible to the real world, to the, you know, what are those called, governments and stuff like that, right? I mean, they're not gonna keep it invisible, right? But it's still a good kind of thing, because people are learning about it, and we are gaining new fresh blood, which we actually need for Bitcoin to start going further, right? Then we got another thing about Ethereum, right? So Ethereum, I'm still waiting for it to come to my box, right? Oops, sorry. I'm still waiting for it to come to my box, but I was actually hoping that this would happen before New Year's Eve, right? And why is this important? So on this New Year's Eve, so after midnight, Ethereum, there will be new type of Ethereum launch, right? So I'm not sure how it's gonna be called. I'm not sure what it's gonna be called, but Ethereum is gonna be hard forked, you know.
It's called Muir Glacier. Muir Glacier upgrade.
Okay. So basically, if I'm not mistaken, even the creator of Ethereum, so I forgot his name, even worked on this hard fork, right? So they have full support of it, if I'm not mistaken, right? So the thing is, this could actually give us a little boost on Ethereum, right? And we could finally be seeing, maybe we finally can test these levels, right? I mean, these levels has now been untouched for so long. It's such a great liquidity point, which I would like to see it fill. And now hard fork could be a perfect opportunity to finally turn this chart around a little bit, right? I really was hoping, I mean, I really wish that my first this box would be filled, but if this is going to turn the chart around, I'm gonna be looking for the first pullback, right? And just train that pullback and trying to hold it a little bit, and hopefully it's gonna break the top. If it's not gonna break the top, I'm gonna sell around here, but if it's breaking the top, then I'm obviously gonna ride it all the way up to this, right? Don't have a lot of answers for that yet, because I will have to see it after the new year, or what the price action will require me to do, right? The volume, you can still see it's pretty dead on Ethereum, right? So they definitely need some upgrades, or at least some very bullish news for it to continue, right? Because we already explained the issues of being in unlimited quantities. Even though it's super hard to mine, it's still in unlimited quantities. It has sort of a, you know, psychological effect on people that they don't want that thing as much, right? Obviously we also got this here also halvening coming on BTC, right? Now halvening, right? Back in the past, when halvening came, there was a huge surge of people who search halvening and stuff on Google, right? And we even posted that in our channel. The thing about that is, yes, you do spike some interest up, but this can be, it's a kind of a two-edged sword, right? Because now for the miners, it's gonna become really expensive to mine Bitcoin, right? And right now, it takes about, in China, it takes about $3,000 to mine one Bitcoin, right? Which is still a good profit margin, right? But with that halvening, what does that mean? You know, they're gonna have to spend $6,000 to mine a Bitcoin, and you know, if you look at it, we are close to not being even break even anymore, right? So that could either mean two things. So is Bitcoin going to moon for them to, you know, be able to cover the cost of the mining, or will it drop under and they will mine for some time, you know, for no profit at all? Actually, they will create negative, right? For the later on times, you know. So that's also a very interesting question that we will see this year unfold, right? And if I'm not mistaken, that's going to happen in March. I think halvening is March, right? Do you know, perhaps,
I
Arnaud?
think it's in May, no?
Oh, May. Oh, sorry, yeah, May. Actually, May. So we will see what that brings us. You know, you never know. Like, crypto is a crazy space when it comes to this, right? News. One news can make you or break you. Okay, so we covered this. Okay, Ethereum, basically same thing as we covered the last week. I'm not doing any intraday trades on Ethereum, as you can see, and I've already said that because the volume is too low for me, you know. And when the volume is too low, I keep on getting these wicks, which would honestly just stop me a lot of the times out of my trades, because I do not like to use too wide of the stops, right? I mean, here it would be a nice play, but even if you wanted to play this and place a stop above the top, you know, it's just almost impossible because of the weeks to place a nice stop, right? And this is already a $4 stop on a 50-minute time frame, which is huge, right? You wouldn't want to see this one. Oops, wrong button. You wouldn't want to see such a stops on such a small time frames, right? If it's intraday trade, it should be as small as possible, right? So yeah, I'm still not doing any intraday trades. We can also check the alts if the alts are doing something. We're also not gonna check the H20 contracts because those make no sense to me at all, right? Okay, we spoke about ADA last week, if I remember or not. We even made this line, so I guess this line was tapped. I'm not sure, did we set up a trade here or not? I think we didn't, right? We just set up a line here, said that we are expecting reaction here. So far we had something, it's not much, but it's 4%er. I mean, it's good. What do I realistically expect?
See the volume right there, right there. The volume is dead.
Yeah, what I would realistically expect is right here. Oh wait, we did touch it here. Oh, that was perfect. Okay, so the next profit target for here now would be around here. And this will probably be my last one, because I'm not taking my profit targets high on alts at the moment. Since I already explained, the bounce is so small, you know, it comes down from a drop like this, look at it, it gives you a little peep small, right? I mean, nothing compared to the drops, right? I mean, look at this drop, 20%, and then it comes to level and it gives you 4%, right? Amazing, amazing reactions. But it was not a bad trade, I guess. We did set a previous weekend, it was something. EOS, let's see EOS. Oh, okay, EOS. Oh, we still got trade on EOS. Oh, sorry. Let's go to higher. Oh, there was a high time frame trade. Oh, it's the one we explained that he has 37% stop. Yep, I remember this one. Let's check it out a little bit on the intraday then. Yes, let's see what's going on. Quite similar to Bitcoin, I'm not gonna lie, quite similar to Bitcoin. But not as good as Bitcoin, right? Because right now you're not gaining anything on EOS. You tapped basically so even if you set up a range like this, right? You tapped pretty much everything on the range right now, right? So what do you expect from for this? Like you didn't test this bottom part, right? I mean you did test it here, right? But I'm saying right this liquidity area right now that has been basically created by these two bounces, right? Oh wait, you actually did tap it right here. So right now the only possible logic thing is for this area, small area right here, but you also tapped it here. So for now this really becomes iffy to trade, because right now you can basically say 50-50, you know, either it's going up or it's going down, 50-50, right? And it's gonna be hard for you to make an educated guess to which move is going to make right now. Because why? You didn't lose anything, right? So obviously in this particular age you didn't lose anything, but you also didn't gain anything, right? I mean, you're basically holding on the middle of the range, right? So if the middle of the range, you have 50% chance of going up and down. Why do you have 50% chance going up and down? Because you tap the liquidity area down here and you tap the liquidity area up here, right? So right now you have nothing on this particular range right now is untested. So trading this right now really risky unless you want to gamble, right? Obviously, I mean 50% chances are good if you know how to use a proper stop, because if you have more than 2R or 1.5R risk to reward ratio, then obviously 50% chance of you is good, right? But the problem with this is, even if you place a perfect stop, you can still do this, right? You can do this and then break into one side or something, right? You don't know. Okay, that's you love when you have reactions like that go front and then backwards, right? Yeah. So let's go Litecoin. See, Litecoin is a little bit better. I mean, it's the same thing as EOS, right? You had the range, but you tapped it and you broke out of it, right? You broke out of it on the bottom. And see, this is what I was talking about. I mean, it is a little bit rest. You almost tested every level that was in the range, but then at the end of the day you broke underneath it, right? Now if you have any higher time frames, let's see if we have anything under here. So basically we just have a couple of weeks. So I guess even Binance chart at this point is not good enough. What else do we have? Okay, so there's still a level down here for the so-called Litecoin, and it was actually tapped right now. I didn't even see that one. So this level was actually tapped in the past as well, and then it moved all the way up and actually gained this side, right? So you would expect more bullishness from Litecoin, but right now it tapped it again. So now your main goal from here would be right now. Okay. So this, as you had.
Could it be a three drive to a low pattern, Alex? You know?
Oh, 3 drives to low button. Yeah. I mean, it is such a, yeah, you're right. It is such a good pattern that it could be 3 drives to a lower bottom. Yes. But I'm just saying, you know, you had a pretty nice level here. Yeah. Right now, if you look at it, right, because we created this sort of a hard resistance right here, this would be your main level for now you to gain to actually be doing something, right? And I'm not saying that if you do something like this, right, if you do something like this, that it won't go lower, right? You want to do something like this, right? I'll be a little bit and then possibly continue touch and continue up here, right? You want a strong reaction off of this level, because right now, if you reject this level, well, holy shit, then it is kind of bearish, right? I mean, that's the most bearish rejection you can get right now after going under such a strong level, right? Which is something it did happen on Ethereum as well, on the higher time frames. Wait, no, that's not the right chart. Bitmax. Oh yeah, Bitfinex. Yeah, see, you know, we went under this hard level, right? And then we rejected it. See, this was the most bearish rejection we could have gotten on Ethereum, and look where it took us, right? It took us right back, almost right back to the beginning from where we pumped from, right? I mean, we're nearly there, right? So the same principle comes on the Litecoin. You don't want to see that happening, because if you do see that happening, there's chances are you're gonna even go lower, right? And then if you go even lower, then this is possibly the very least level that we can hold. After that, it's basically Texas. right? You could jump, you could have a little bounce between there, but I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't knife catch it at all. I would just wait for it, bounce, and play it the same kind of way as I told you, right? Wait for something to gain along the pullback, be a winner, right? Okay, moving on. So anyways, I'm gonna say it again, guys. If you got any question, ask them now. We're still here. It's almost New Year. I mean, not almost, in 10 hours. But, you know, it's a New Year special, as we would call it. And possibly TRX looks the worst. So, TRX, as we spoke the last time, they open up a Ponzi scheme game. Yay, right? And you'd think that would do something good for their price, but it did absolutely nothing. Look at that. You know it's dead when you go in 4 hours and you have, you know, you have all the spaces, yeah, all the spaces in front of it, right? Yeah. So right now you gotta even switch the candles just to polish the trend, right? So just you can look at them normally, right? Have to switch to Henki candles for that reason. You know, same thing. Like, there's nothing much to say. Like, okay, so on higher time frames, you didn't gain shit, right? And as we said previously in Litecoin, you know, this was sort of at the most level, let's just say the strongest one in this sort of range in 4 hour, right? And you actually rejected it, right? So what, like, from what Ethereum showed you and from what Bitcoin showed you, you're gonna test right now this part, right? This part would be your next test. Let's actually see how wide this area is. Let's actually see. We'll put it under this wing here, not to have it too fat. It's still an 11% stop. It's not the best, but it's not the worst, right? You could take it, but again, you know, the profit target is gonna be real soon. Which in this case, I'm not even sure if it's 1 hour then. Yeah, it's like 1 hour exactly, right? So, I mean, it's not the best, right? I mean, it's not the best. You really don't look for this type of trades unless you're really sure they're gonna play out, right? Because right now, like I said, this is only 4 hours, right? Because if you go on daily, it's much worse, right? I mean, on daily, you didn't actually, not even did you not even go to any main levels. You didn't even come close to bouncing to them. You just rejected the first possible level that ever is on the chart, even if it's not strong, and already sort of making these bearish movements right now. But as we can see from previous charts, this area is most likely to be tested. And if you want to take a trade, you should definitely take the trade here with 11% stop and hope for the best, right? If you don't wanna, just stay out, and you know that it is how it goes with trading anymore. If it doesn't show you bullishness, you can't do much more, right? But from the bunch looking at it right now, I think TRX might be even the one that looks the worst from them. I'm not sure why. Ripple. Okay, Ripple doesn't look too good, but doesn't look as bad as that. Oh wait, we actually had a trade on Ripple from the previous stream. And this is what I'm talking about, right? You have this fine pump, right? Fine pump, but you didn't gain anything, right? You didn't gain anything. And then you have a dump, and you've hit your main level right here, right now, that we were discussing TRX and everything. And look at the small reaction you got, right? On the first touch you had, okay, 5% reaction, right? So composing of dumping for 50%, you only have a 5% reaction, I mean, so far, you know. And now it's going sideways. And yes, it can now take time. It can do something like this, you know, take time, just slowly build it up, you know, and then give you a reaction to this level right here, and then just react more down, right? But you don't know. But so far right now, what we want to see is...
you are still in Ekenashi, Alex.
What? Sorry?
Ekenashi candle, you are still using Ekenashi candle right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. Candles. Yeah, same thing. Anyway, so what we want to see, right? If you split it up into the range right now, so see, it's pretty obvious range. So it's obviously even could be a little bit smaller time frame, right? So right now, what we want to see, obviously, we want to overtake this mid as fast as possible, right? And then after that mid, we want to move out here without going under the mid anymore. We don't want to see, right, something like this right now and then go down and then, right? Because then I would already be jumping out of the trade. Right now I want to see something like this and then try to breakout this, and probably gonna ride it up to this level, like I said. And that would be it, you know. I'm not trusting it to go up any more further, but I would wait for it to go up a little. If it goes up any more further, then obviously I would go full ham into the XRP. And I would not only go full ham into XRP, I would actually go full ham into this alt right then. Because if XRP did this, right, then the pattern that we just saw in with Litecoin, right? Yeah, the pattern that we no wait, was it? No, TRX, sorry. The pattern that we just saw on TRX is gonna probably do the same, right? See, it's the same exact pattern, and if I'm not mistaken, same is on EOS. With EOS already tested everything. Yeah, the EOS is not really the same. Wait, AG. Okay, this one is the same as. So we got like three alts from out of 6 of them or 5 of them, right? So if they will probably follow the same pattern as XRP if that happens, right? So if this happens, I would definitely go into all those alts and just kind of wait out, because there's always one alt that leads the whole chart, and then the others just follow because people go to one alt and then to other, and they just jump around like that, right? Yes, we also mentioned that we got OpenFed, right? Let's see how about that. That was just opened. This just got filled today, if I'm not mistaken. So we took the trade with a little bit wider stop, 11%. Can't do it right much, right? So right now we are hoping for it to react. We are hoping for it to react, as we see in this area. This is a pretty nice trade, to be honest. Compared to other coins on Binance that I've seen lately, right? At least this one full-heartedly gained the main level that it was right here, right? I mean, this was a really heavy level right here, and it gained it fast. I mean, fast, like strong, and went above it and stayed above it for a lot of days, and then came back, right? So that's why this is a
and with a lot of volume also.
Exactly. I know, and the volume is dying down right now. But the thing is, when I see a trade like this, I have to take this trade in my sleep. This is a perfect trade. When if something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen right now. I mean, that's sort of the key right here, right? And I really hope the volume is gonna start adding up after New Year, because the logic could be right now that people are selling cryptos and everything to redeem their taxes as well, right? So maybe that's why the things are a little bit slow right now, but still, this should be something like this. Then we had, where do we had trade? We had trades on.
But.
No, the other, the one we showed in the previous one, right? So yeah, we also had trade on this. We already closed it because we had a nice reaction. We got filled, and then it had immediate reaction the same day. And it was to the first profit target, so we closed it fully. But even now, after some time, we gave it time to consolidate. You can see that it actually found the bottom. It's actually starting to slowly move up, right? And the volume is still staying the same. But the key right now is taking fast profits, just because the volume is low and everything, right? So you really wanna just go in, take the profits fast if the market allows you, right? And then just move towards the next trade like we did with FAT, right? So we had BAT, you said, right? BAT, we had BAT. Okay, so this one. This is a sad one because it bounced before us, and I actually see where it bounced, right? But because of the whole structure, I was really thinking it's gonna bounce right here, and I'm still gonna keep this trade. I won't close it because I'm still expecting that if it comes down here, it's gonna react in this area, because this is the strongest area of the chart right here. Like from this time frame, this is the strongest area of the chart, and this one is a little bit higher, right? So obviously, I always go in times like this when the volume is not the best. I'm gonna go for the strongest areas in the chart, just because that will give us the best possible hit ratio, right? The best possible accuracy in this point, right? We had to cancel MDA, right? We had to cancel MDA because shockingly it came so close, not even 1%. Yeah, 1% perhaps. Yeah, we had to cancel this one. Then we also got request, right? What is request doing? Request bounced before us as well, but again, see, took the most powerful area in the chart, and I'm still expecting if it comes down here, and it will eventually, by the structure right now what I'm seeing, because mainly most important information, look what happened here. If we go on daily, it closed under this level for like 5 days, that's already telling me that it's gonna come down here, and because when it's gonna come down here, it's gonna react. This is gonna be a good trade, I can tell you. What else do we have, or not?
Let me see. So BNB, we still have one on BNB and Theta.
BNB, yes. Still waiting for this trade. The thing is about BNB, we also have the algorithm running on BNB, so I'm being super careful on this one, because I don't want too many trades at the same time on BNB, because that could potentially be again, we would be exposed too much to risk, and that would just not be good for us, right? But I will keep this trade as well, even though we will have it, because it is again a really strong level, and I expect a reaction on it, and I would take it any time of the day. Exactly. It is just, you know, when you got a strategy, certain strategy that you've been playing for a couple of years, you just have to take these trades because mathematically speaking, they're gonna play out in the long run, and you're gonna make money, right? So that's the whole logic of trading right here. So, you guys got any questions about, you know, any alts? We can still check them out. We can analyze them, or you know.
Nothing for Alex. Nothing.
Yeah. You can post it in YouTube chat, you know, so we can check it out. If not, then we can slowly start wrapping this up, right? Because we pretty much spoke about all the alts.
So we'll wait a couple more minutes, and if there is no question, I think this is about it.
We did talk about a lot of alts, and it is like kind of a stream before New Year's Eve, right? So we kind of want to enjoy with our families too, right? I mean, not necessarily families, but maybe just go out, party, and drink, right, Arnaud? Well, I hope you're not too old for that anymore, you know. You're a family guy right now, aren't you?
No. Not even close, Alex.
Well, what happened here?
They're still young.
Oh yeah, still waiting for this one, I see. We had a trade here actually. We had it. We closed it the same day. It was nice reaction, but you know, nothing to compare to the dump. And now the next one would be down here, but this one is still 20%.
20%.
Yeah, still one time. So this one will not be called yet. We'll see it in the next year after the New Year's year. It's basically when I set up the trades, you know, I like to go through the Binance and just set up the boxes where I think it's neat, right? And then just tag them as the green color, you know, and then just go through them to see what's gonna happen, right? Expect and trade. See, like it's still like stuff like this right now when happens with this low liquidity right now. Let me tell you.
Was about the same as Matic, right? We spoke about that in 2 streams ago, I think.
Oh, we did? Oh, okay, yeah. The thing is,
market making
yeah,
there,
exactly. And the thing is, look at this double bottom right now. See, I mean, you can see the market maker is not there right now anymore. To be honest, like, I mean, this is now driven by people, right? So that we kind of expected it because it was close to 0.5. If the market maker is gonna come back in, right? But this right now, I can tell you that this is mostly a work of one single person or a couple of them, right? Because why would it bounce right at the double bottom, right? I mean, this makes no sense, right? When you have a structure like this, right? So right now this is being driven by them, but let me tell you that it probably with this volume it won't break the top, right? If it's gonna break the top, it's not gonna break past this week as well. I mean, and then it's slowly gonna come to our entry, and then hopefully we can get a market maker reaction there. You know, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see regular.
It looks like a head and shoulder, that kind of pattern.
I mean, it does look like a head and shoulder, right? But I mean, head and shoulder, as we spoke before, it can be perceived as a distribution pattern, right? I mean, if
yeah,
right?
of course. Yeah. But this is a distribution pattern.
Yeah.
If it's inverted.
Yeah, but a lot of people usually, I mean, yeah, for ours we know, but a lot of people mix them up, right? You know, you tell people head and shoulders or cup and cup and handle, right? And they think it's gonna be bullish, right? But
no, inverted head and shoulder could be bullish, but it's in that case it's accumulation, so it makes sense.
But the thing is, yes, like you said, but if I look at people and other traders on Twitter, you know, they will post head and shoulders all the time, you know. They will post it and then they will say it's gonna moon, right? For me that makes no sense because it's like a distribution pattern, right? So for us it's logical, but for other people, not so much, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I know what you're saying, I understand, you know, I'm just saying for other people that are on, that are trying to learn, you know, I'm just explaining that this is I like to call my patterns distribution and accumulation patterns, right? So yeah, it's perceived as a distribution pattern, and this is why we will most likely get a trade here. Will we have a reaction? Well, that's the fucking question right here, right? Because we mostly plan this trade as if the market maker is still in, right? So if when it comes down here, I'm mostly gonna look for something like this for a candle, you know, to at least match the candle of up here, right? So at least something like this, right? Then that would be kind of a good confirmation of what's happening, right? Let's go lower. Oh shit, no, that was a nice trade.
Yeah, that one was triggered.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty nice trade. Okay, oh, so this one is over already, yeah, I can see that. Docks. Same thing, same thing. Wait, let me see.
Anemic volume once
Oh,
again.
30%, holy shit. Yeah, it's still 30% till hit, you know, so that one is still far away. Dusk, I could probably even remove this one from my list. You know why I kept this one on my list? Because I was hoping it's gonna gain this. But you know, it just tapped it and went right back under it, and now double bottom. It's just... it's probably gonna go lower. I'm just gonna throw this one out from my given list. This one, pretty standard trade, you know, the start of the pump. And it's probably gonna need 30% more to come there. Everything is so far away, I swear, man.
Same thing here, no?
Yeah, which one?
I want here. There is something to do now.
Yes, exactly. That's why I have it on my green list. But again, 25%, right? Holy shit.
Yes, that will be for mid-January, maybe.
Yep, exactly. That's why I'm just setting this up. The problem of alts is, right? Right now you don't have much to do. But then it's gonna come 1 week when you're gonna have like 20 trades, right? And then you're gonna be like, oh, should I enter them all? Should I not? Should I, you know? Okay, this one should be a little bit close, right? 39. Oh, that's the one with the big stop. Nope, not taking that one. This one, I'm just waiting for it to gain over this before I'm gonna do anything about it, right? I'm still waiting for it. We talked about it before, this being an accumulation area. The accumulation area worked out. But now I'm telling you why I don't take these accumulation areas. Because this, look at this, you know? It worked out. The fucking shit worked out, right? But how you gonna manage your stop when you have so many wicks? Like how? Like, you know, you need a miracle here to survive, you know? But then eventually it does move up, right? And it does hold the area you originally intended.
Doesn't it look like a stair once again? You know?
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I was just explaining, you know, we had this area, right? But you can't take it because there's so many goddamn weeks that would stop you out, even if you wanted to play blindly, you know. That's why I like to wait for my charts to gain something. And right now, like you have mentioned, thank you. Yes, they are stairs. So right now, I'm not gonna call market maker in it. But when you have such a steady increase of volume slowly, it could possibly be even one, right? So right now, you can see if it was just simple Fibonacci, right? How market makers work, and don't ask me why, but this is how I found that most market makers work in crypto world. They most definitely do not try this in standard markets because they do not work like this in standard markets. And this actually, after you even do this, you would actually see that even this could have been painted by market maker because look, this is it coincident that this is the strongest level on the chart right now in this time frame? Right? I mean, 0.5 fib. So it kind of makes you believe that maybe this was preserved by market maker as well because the chart is set up like this, right? So right now, when it comes down, you could smash a trade on it. You could actually smash a trade like the 8% stop. That would be...
Yeah, would be 1 hour or less.
Yeah, so again. Yeah, it would be around the 1 hour. Yeah, we'd have to take this one. Yeah, 1 hour. It's really hard to make stops because again, if you do it like this, you can get this, right? And this is a little bit of a problem. So yes, would be something like I'm gonna save it. We'll see what happens with this one for the next stream. Ethereum. Look at that. So I already drew this line so much time ago, and look at it. See, is it coincidence? You remember this one?
Yeah.
That was like 3 months ago because I already had it here and just moved it here because, you know. And eventually it happened, right? I mean, we tapped this box, you tapped the middle, you came back out because you lost the level right here, we rejected right here, right? And now you're gonna test the one we set on, like we said, oops, we can just do it now. You're gonna test the one you set up on, like we said on, what is that? XRP, like we did from the beginning. Perfectly, I mean, it doesn't look in the eyes of no trader, it doesn't look the same, but it is basically the same thing when you look at it, right? It just reacts the same ways, right? Okay, Fed, we still have a trade.
We don't have other question, Alex. So I think
look at this one. Before we go, this one could be possibly called 10%. We can actually call this one today, if you are up for it. Wait, let me see how big is the stop. Maybe not.
Let's see. Because as you said, we have already some trade in the pipes.
Yeah. Okay, the stop is a little bit higher on this one. It isn't too good. This one is dead. Well, anyways, guys, if you have no questions, then we will wrap it up here. We had a nice 45-minute stream. I hope you guys will enjoy a nice New Year's Eve, right? And we will wish you Happy New Year after the New Year is done, because that would be...
On behalf of Force Trading, we wish you a happy New Year. And wait,
Yep.
New Year Eve, guys.
So
But
yeah.
you are fine for us.
So yeah, I guess join us next week. Next week then, right? I mean, we will have the stream. Yeah, on the same day, basically at the same hour, right? As we agreed
Same
already.
day, same hours.
Okay,
Nice.
we will joining you up today again, and hopefully we will have some more news on Ethereum. We will see what happens after the hard fork. You definitely
We
have
will see tomorrow what will happen with Ethereum.
tomorrow. It's actually after midnight. It's gonna kick in, right? So if you're
Yeah.
curious about that, let's see what's gonna happen tomorrow, right? I mean, we will talk about that more the next stream we will have. And this is basically it, right? Then stay safe, guys, right? Bye.